My name is Sepo Hachigonta. I'm the head of strategic partnerships at the NRF. I'm also the acting group executive for business advancement, which is a pillar of the NRF. I'm excited as well to be welcoming you to this exciting conference on equitable partnerships that the NRF will be hosting in partnership with our UK colleagues, the British Academy and the Royal Society. We are quite excited about this topic and about continuing this second phase of partnerships and conferencing with our partners from the UK. You might be asking yourself why equitable partnerships are important for South Africa and for the National Research Foundation in particular, as well for the Global South. This is a very, very key conversation, especially if you look at the Global South and the many geopolitical tensions that are happening in the world now and even in the past. It is particularly more important if you speak within the academic and research ecosystems, where we always speak of unequitable partnerships with regards to the research space and innovation space. Now, dwelling down, why does it matter to have these conferences and why do these equitable partnerships matter for South Africa and for the NRF? The first one is looking at the global challenges that we are faced with. If you look at good example, COVID showed us that a challenge in one country can affect everybody globally. So if you look at the global challenges that we have and the need of addressing those challenges as a global family is much more critical compared to working in isolation as individual countries. So equitable partnerships are very critical to unlocking those doors of working as a collective to addressing these global challenges that has got a lot of implications on both global and local contexts. Number two, we are aware of the limited resources that go into funding research and innovation, not just in the Global South, but within the global North as well. You cannot optimize research inputs, outputs, and impact if you don't work as a collective. So the second piece of why this conference matters and why equitable partnerships matter is the need of working as a collective in terms of resources, both funding, both research infrastructures that you cannot have and optimize as an individual country or institution. You need the global partnerships to work as a collective to optimize and to put resources together to address these challenges with the limited resources that we have. The third piece is linked to the history. If you look at partnerships, basically globally and in the past, they are usually anchored with the lens of Global North in terms of setting the agenda, in terms of funding, and in terms of the visibility of that research. That's not by default, that's by design. Yes, we do acknowledge that if you look at the Global South, we can't compare ourselves in terms of resources with the Global North. However, we've got the intellectual leadership within the Global South, especially if you look at South Africa. We've got excellent research leaders in South Africa that play at a global space. So the issue around having that equitability, that voice, that ownership, that leadership at a national scale that's able to participate in these partnerships globally and shape the agenda of research and what comes out of the research that is being funded or that is being conducted is very, very critical for South Africa. So the role of positioning and emphasizing the leadership as we are setting the agenda, as we are conducting research, as we are informing that research to provide the evidence that's needed both in terms of society, policy, and just the broader context of many publics that we're supposed to be responsive to. If you speak of equitable partnerships, you are speaking of partners coming together to, in this context, fund, conduct research, or support students' skills development. That in instance or example, a good example is South Africa working with the UK, just as an example. These are two different systems. If you speak of their expenditure in terms of on research and innovation, they are two completely different systems. South Africa is a small player compared to the UK in terms of the gross expenditure on innovation, research and innovation that we have, compared to other Western worlds. So already, if you look at those dynamics and if you look at funding, we are not on the same page. If you look at the UK, they've got massive resources. If you look at South Africa, we can't compare ourselves in terms of resources. If you dwell down, what does it mean if you're designing a project or a program as a collective, as part of that equitable partnership with a funding lens? Of course, if you put into cognizance that you can't match pound to pound with the UK, but you can match rand to a pound. But it's not just about the money, it's about the other resources that add value to that partnership. Good example is the position of South Africa. Just looking at our geographical position and the expertise that we've built over the last few years, expertise that and infrastructures that we have, the environment that we have, the oceans that we have, the blue skies that we have here, that's a resource. And if you speak of equitable partnership, and as you designing the funding instrument, you need to take account of all those different modalities as part of that mutuality and equitable partnerships. That links as well if you're designing the governance. Governance has to be very equitable as well. It has to be on the same footing. All the parties need to have one voice. They need to be on the same page as they're designing, as they're having oversight on the program. That's very, very key as well to ensure that as you are co-creating these initiatives, you are not just looking at the end result, but you're looking at how you co-create from the beginning. In conclusion, we are looking forward to your active participation and a very, very successful conference with the UK, our Global South partners, and other partners that will be participating in the conference. Thank you so much.